So how do you think that that issue of, not fair administration of justice in the school system, relating this back to your earlier point, how do you think that the school system could be more fair with more racialized teachers, administrators, especially more racialized folks in education leadership?
So I know that there's a lot of work that has been done and continues to be done, and like the awareness in the last year has been like astronomical around some of these issues. So educating teachers and administrators, which happens, which is a part of the program. But I really do believe after 3 decades in the system that you just have to be hiring lots of people who are on the other side of the fence. Like I just get this stuff from the bones out because I've lived it.
Yeah.
And I can have conversations with colleagues who have lived it and we get it. We can get things done faster because we don't have to spend a lot of time convincing someone who hasn't lived it that this is real. Like this is a thing. We don't have to face all the skepticism that comes from someone who just has so little lived experience with this that they mostly are skeptical when you say that wasn't really right, was it? Or he shouldn't have said that, or why did he have that on the blackboard, or that was a little bit, like all of those from these bigger things, but from even smaller things, like all the little microaggressions that people experience every day. It continues to be extremely difficult to have those conversations with people who don't live it.
Yep.
The amount of we talk about emotional labor, right? The amount of education and emotional labor that you have to do before you'll get enough credibility to get some action. The onus is still on a minority of people, whether it's educators or some administrators and students and their families. Like, it's still on that minority who are suffering the effects of these misadministrations of justice to do all this education to get to the point where someone actually believes that there's something that went awry, to get some action that maybe we should revisit this, maybe we should have a second meeting, maybe we should look at the report and see if, were these facts actually correct. Like, it just takes a long time to get to that point. And after a while, it's not effective because it takes too much work for the relatively few people who are up against the gatekeepers of justice. So those gatekeepers of administration in schools have to be thoroughly educated and committed to equity. And I think that happens most effectively when you hire and promote
people who live it.
The people who live it.
Yep.
Because the lived experience and the professional training are the best combination. That's the skill set that we need now. And I don't think there's any excuses. Like, there's still excuses made because there's an issue. I mean, really, it's a competitive world. And in the end, it boils down to who gets the job, who's getting the contract. And we have to look at the skill sets and the lived experience and the professional judgment and all of those things as a package. And I've seen many teachers with that skill set passed over for the job when they were actually, and there's ways to hire so that, on paper it looks like this was the best candidate, but I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah. So
hiring of educational workers is I think it continues to be a big issue.
100%. And I think that, the province is taking this into consideration in terms of the new laws and policies, around hiring.
Yeah.
So I know before in the school system, it was very seniority based and a long list of people.
Yeah.
And sometimes, when you are the first in your family to go to university, you're not going to be at the top of that list because this Canada remains a recipient or a receiver country for people from all over the world.
Right.
So now that policy has now been done away with in Ontario, and we're moving to more of an equity-based lens for hiring, recognizing that certain communities have schools where all the students are racialized, and it is a problem when their administrators and their educators are disconnected from their lived experience as newcomers, refugees, racialized folks.
It's disastrous.
Yeah.
I've seen disastrous consequences with the wrong principal in a certain school. It's disastrous. I won't go into details about it, but many people watching this video will have had firsthand experience of it, and they know that it's really, really disastrous to have people in positions of power who do not have the experience and the commitment to diversity and equity